On the majority of university campuses, responsible, law-abiding citizens are denied their constitutional right to defend themselves. And when I was 22 years old, I never thought I would find myself needing that constitutional right. My story starts off rather ordinary. It was just a regular Monday night, and I was headed to the university to attend my evening class. And that night I parked in the parking garage that was located across from where my class was being held. And I deliberately did this so that I wouldn't have to walk across campus at dark. My class was getting out at 10 p.m. And so when my class was over at 10 o'clock, I left with a group of students that had also parked in the parking garage. And we made a habit out of doing that because we were always told the rule of safety in numbers. As we walked, we talked about the rigorous exam that we had just survived. We had just taken our midterm. And we compared our answers, trying to figure out what exactly the professor was looking for. And as we approached the parking garage, I was the only one who had parked on the ground floor, so I broke away from the group. And as I approached my vehicle, I surveyed in and around and under my car to make sure that there was nobody underneath it. And the manner in which I was doing that was not something that I had to think about. It was second nature for me because of the martial arts training that I received when I was younger. And I was really confident that I had just passed my exam, and I was anxious to get on the phone to call my boyfriend, who I knew would be my fiance in a matter of days, who's now my husband. But my blissful, carefree train of thought was abruptly ended when I was suddenly grabbed by a man who was much larger than me, and he pulled me down to between a truck and a sedan and very quickly put a pistol up to my temple, clicked off the safety, which is a sound that I knew well, and demanded that I not say anything. As I lay there on that cold cement, straddled to the ground, while this man brutally raped me, I wondered if I was going to die, because I saw in his eyes that he had the propensity to kill. The terror I felt in those moments followed me for the next 13 months as the man who attacked me remained at large. However, I was never afraid of the gun. I was afraid of the man holding the gun, and the nightmares that I had about the incident were never about the weapon being used, but about the man who was using the weapon, the very weapon that was banned from campus. In November 2008, the man who attacked me was captured by the Reno police. And the name that had haunted my nightmares finally had a name: James Bila. James Bila was later convicted in the district court for not only raping me at gunpoint, but also kidnapping and raping a second victim, and raping and murdering a third, whose name became well known in our community as Breonna Dennison. On October 22nd, 2007, my right to say no was taken away by both James Bila and the Nevada legislature. At a system of higher education, James Bila degraded my body by raping me, and the Nevada legislature rendered me defenseless by denying me my right as a licensed concealed carry permit holder to carry my weapon. Had I been carrying that night, I know at some point I would have been able to stop my rape, and the case that is so well known in northern Nevada would have had a very different outcome. As part of the trial preparation, I was asked to go back to the university and back to the crime scene. And I've seen the efforts that particularly the University of Nevada, Reno has made to improve safety, and they remain inadequate. They have lit up the parking garage significantly and installed these call boxes where you push a number if you have an emergency. A call box potentially located above my head while I was being straddled on the ground would have been no more help to me than the police were that night. I should probably mention that I was raped less than 300 feet away from the campus police office on the same ground where they park their patrol vehicles. And my case is a perfect example that despite the law enforcement's best efforts, that they cannot be everywhere at once. All I wanted was a chance to be able to defend myself, and campus carry would have given me that chance. Participating in your own self-protection should be a choice that is left to the individual, and that choice should not be mandated by the government. And as a woman, I believe that it is the ultimate choice. Because as women, we tell the government to stay out of our bodies and to not mandate what goes on internally. And then some women are willing to hand over our own self-protection and to allow a man to be the arbitrator of that. And I'm not one of those women. If the government's going to deny us the ability to participate in our own self-protection, then they should assume that responsibility. But my case is a perfect example that they're failing miserably at that task. While I'm speaking to you today, I would like for you to remember that the majority of rapes go unreported, as did mine initially. And so while I'm talking to you about one case involving, or my incident involving 2 other cases, we have no way of really knowing just how many sexual assaults occur. I obeyed the law and left my CCW permit at home. And if the purpose of a gun-free zone is to maintain safety, then it's not serving that objective. I obeyed the law for fear of losing my permit and being expelled from school. But that night when I encountered James Vila, my education and my CCW permit were only important to me. And he was intent on committing a crime and sexual assault anyways. As the current law stands, the law-abiding citizen has more to lose if they carry and if they don't carry. During the sentencing phase, James Vila received a 1-year enhancement charge for raping me at gunpoint in a gun-free zone. And I was left as an easy target because he knew that I would not be able to defend myself. I didn't have that equalizing factor. The unanswered question of my life is and will remain to be, what would have been different if I'd been carrying my gun that night? It is a question that keeps me up at night as I replay the worst 10 minutes of my life over and over again, and there have been several different possibilities, but one outcome remains the same, and that is that 2 other rapes would have been prevented and a young life would have been saved. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would need the constitutional right that was denied me in order to defend myself and ultimately save a young life. And I would just like to leave you with one question for you to think about. Just how does rendering me defenseless protect you against a violent crime? Thank you.